Timcast IRL will be live in Miami with Patrick Bet David, Donald Trump Jr., Matt Gaetz, and Luke Rudkowski. Join us there. Get your tickets by clicking the link in the description below or by going to timcast.com. From timcast.com, Hunter Biden indicted on 3 federal gun charges. A judge denied a plea deal previously offered to Biden by U.S. Attorney for Delaware David Weiss. And the story being by Hannah Claire. I'll just ask Hannah Claire what's going on.
So Hunter Biden has had a long and lengthy legal path. So these charges are one count of a false statement in purchasing a firearm, one count of making a false statement relating to information required to have a federal firearm license, and one count of possessing a firearm by a person who is using or addicted to drugs.
Oh, wow. They got him on drugs.
Yes. So the thing is, Hunter Biden is open about the fact that he is addicted to drugs, right? And we'll all remember
was.
Mm-hmm. I think the alcoholics say it's forever, but maybe not for Hunter Biden.
Yeah, good point.
So he has had tax charges levied against him. And you'll remember that about 12 weeks ago, he pled guilty to tax charges. He was going to not go to jail and the gun charges. And a judge about 6 weeks after that threw out this sweetheart deal that was offered to him by the attorney general in Delaware. And we all remember this. It was a reminder that we have a 2-tier justice system in America, which let Hunter Biden get away with a sweet deal and potentially have immunity on all kinds of stuff. And that was thrown out. And I think that that's a credit to everyone who spoke loudly about how they didn't like it.
I think, what was it, like 2 whistleblowers came out and said, yeah, Hunter Biden's doing this, but they're not going to go after him because it's the Biden family.
Right. And so there was a lot of outcry online. There was also the House Republicans launched an inquiry into this deal to see how the Merrick Garland, who appointed Weiss, and just generally how did they sign off on this plea deal.
You see, I just want to point out, when Timcast.com does a headline, it just says something like what Hunter Biden indicted on 3 gun charges. We try to just be basic and just give you the information.
You want to flash your headline?
I'll look what the Daily Mail wrote. Hunter Biden indicted on 3 felony charges for lying about being on drugs when he bought a gun.
But is that accurate? Because not all 3 of those charges are for them.
Exactly. But that's a heck of a headline.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you said Hunter Biden indicted on felony charge for singular for lying about being on drugs when he bought a gun, that's a pretty good headline that hits.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to get people to understand the severity of what it was Hunter Biden is doing in the worst of it, this is it right here. I do, however, think this might actually be a distraction. When we had Brianna Wu on the culture war, and I brought up Joe Biden flying to Ukraine to get a prosecutor fired at the behest of his son, Brianna kept saying, okay, so if Hunter Biden did something wrong, he should go to jail. I'm like, no, not Hunter Biden, Joe. Right. If Hunter Biden did something wrong, I'm like, no, stop. I am not talking about Hunter Biden. This story right here, it's flashy. A lot of people want to hear about it. Ooh, what did Joe Biden's kid do? Yeah, but he bought a gun while he was on drugs. First of all, I have questions about the Second Amendment and whether or not, if you're actively on drugs and you're like out of your mind, yeah, okay, you can't have, that makes sense. You can't have a gun and you're like waving it around or something. But I'm like, if it's in your car and you're on drugs, is that a big deal? You're not going to be driving, right? It's about wielding and being in control of the object. But also, I'm not so convinced it's just because you're a drug user, you shouldn't be allowed to have a gun. I don't, through due process, perhaps, but that's a whole other argument. Ultimately, my point here is the question we should be asking is about Hunter Biden calling DC, saying we're being investigated by this Ukrainian prosecutor, Joe Biden then flying out, and what relation these things have to each other and how they came together. This may be intentional. Mm-hmm. I would not be surprised if Joe was like, look, we know that the White House sent that letter to all those media outlets saying, scrutinize the impeachment, don't let them do this. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe was like, hey, indict Hunter on some non-political thing so we can push the news cycle away from the things I was doing with Burisma and all that stuff.
I think you're totally right. I think letting him fall for some things gets the headlines to be, oh no, he is facing justice, and the average American who is not as well versed in the complicated goings on of the Biden family, which really aren't that complicated. They lied for personal gain and they lied about their foreign business interests. Will say, oh well, Hunter is facing charges. He is having to own up for things. This is okay, and it's a way of sort of circumventing actually facing the reality that if Hunter's guilty, Joe is definitely guilty.
Yeah, I get the feeling that people are turning on these guys now, this Biden crap. And like, we'll pull it up, I think, at some point in the show. There's a video of someone on CNN just rattling off lies that Biden's told, including that he went to Ground Zero the day after it happened.
CNN's admitting it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think for the Hunter Biden, the Biden family couldn't keep Hunter in the background for long enough. They tried so hard. Like, I don't remember if you remember the Democratic National Convention when he was running for president. They brought out every single granddaughter. They did not bring out his grandson, and they did not bring out Hunter. They are trying to pretend like there are no males in this family because being a Biden male, I guess except for Beau, is not a good look.
Well, you get bank, though, right? Aren't you making bank? I mean, his brothers, his kid.
Yeah, and I love the divorce and the unstable family. It's just great.
I just want to say, Politico wrote this long magazine story about the influence peddling of the Bidens in 2019 called Biden Inc. And today, 4 years later, the media says there's no evidence. And I'm just like, do you read the news? Apparently they don't.
Do you read yourselves?
They don't.
No.
It's very easy for someone to say that something that they don't see doesn't exist.
I just found out his name's not Hunter Biden.
What is his name?
Robert.
He's Robert Hunter Biden, right?
Yeah.
And his son is something similar.
I'm looking at they posted a picture of the gun for him, and his name is Robert.
Yeah.
He's Bobby Biden? Why are we calling him Hunter? Bobby it is. Bobby Biden.
It's not crazy that people go by their middle names. Maybe that's a controversy, but
R. Hunter Biden. You got to put the initial first.
It struck last
he's
night.
named after one of Biden's brothers, right? There's another Robert
Bob.
Biden.
Okay.
I think I could be wrong.
It hit me last night, and I knew this, but that Hunter had started sleeping with his dead brother's wife
Yes.
while he was still married.
Yes.
He started cheating on his wife with his brother's.
Yes, and I think so the story behind him having this gun, there's this Colt, I don't know what guns are called, Colt Cobra, and he apparently bought the gun, and his girlfriend at the time, Beau Biden's widow, apparently threw it in the trash can in the story to buy it away from him.
Next to a school, yeah.
Was she cracking out with him? Were they both drugging
I
out
don't know,
together?
but I really feel bad for all these cousins whose granddad is Joe Biden, the sniffer, and then this is their parents' dad. This does not seem good. I mean, as the parenting expert in this room, do you advise?
I do not advise. No. None of this. None of the making sex tapes with your husband and when you're an elected congressman. I mean, none of this.
Well, actually, so I have a question for someone who is a parenting expert. I think I said it before. I think Hunter Biden got molested. I don't know. It's a pretty heavy subject, but when you look at what Joe Biden's doing on camera to these kids, that Hunter Biden has reportedly referred to his dad as Pedo Pete.
Eek.
Then you look at the substance abuse and the behavioral issues. I'm like, that seems indicative of someone who was abused as a kid.
I don't know, but I will tell you this: if your kid gets involved in drugs, all bets are off. All bets are off. I mean, I've seen so many good parents better parents than me, right, who have lost their kids because, one toke, smoke.
So you're saying that Joe's actually a good dad?
No, I am not. I am saying that if you've got a drug addict, I just know a lot of parents out there that feel really guilty because their kids have substance abuse issues, and that's the problem with substance is it controls you, and there's not a lot you can do to get your kid out of it. So I don't know about the molestation issue.
It's interesting though because Hunter has a substance abuse issue, and so does his sister. Ashley Biden has been in rehab a couple different times, and so there is obviously something going on in this family. I know people say addictive personalities can run in family, but sometimes addiction is a response to trauma. Now, what is that trauma?
100% true. 100%. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Is the old man sniffing? Is he just too close? Is that last generation with oh honey, come on here? I don't know. I don't know what it is, or is there something going on there?
He's got anger, rage under the surface. That Joe Biden guy.
So that is 100% true. You can see him anytime something gets in the way, and there's the eruption.
Yeah, I'm looking at a reporter questioning him right now about flying out to Ukraine and Biden being like, no one warned me about that. She's like, they warned your staff. He's like, nobody warned me that what I was doing was wrong.
And how much is that dementia too, though? I mean, I guess he's been kind of flying off the handle ever since he was elected in 1920 or whenever he, I don't know,
around then,
1840.
Right. But also, that is, why aren't people looking at that and saying mental decline, dementia? That is what happens when you slip into those kind of.
It could
To
be
be fair, I think some people are saying that, just not the people in his immediate care. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to assume that he beat Hunter up. or like squeezed him too hard or pinched him or any of that, but I can definitely
No, worse.
visualize it. Like grab him and be like, you get over here, you son of a... Like
I
really,
think-
when he's
yeah,
like 9 years
Bro.
old and 14 and stuff.
Hunter calls him Pedo Pete.
Yeah, really.
I wonder what Joe Biden
And
could
Peter
have
was
done
one of
to
his-
make his son call him that.
That was his one of his aliases was Peter something?
yeah, Peter. What was it?
I can find it.
Robert Peters something. Was that what it was?
Pedo Pete. Dude,
Right.
you call your dad a pedo?
That's
That's
no good.
some
And
big
then
problems going on.
His sister's diary, right? And she
right.
said the thing about showering.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that
Sketchy.
was all kind of weird stuff. And I don't want to make these accusations lightly because obviously child abuse is such a serious topic. On the other hand, I have maintained for a long time that there is something deeply troubled in the Biden family. And I think we just get more and more evidence of this all the time.
I wonder what it must have been like for Don Jr. Growing up with Trump as your dad.
He talks about it pretty positively. I mean, I've had a chance
Yeah.
to hear him speak privately about it. And also, with his mom and their heritage, I think they're Czechoslovakian. Also, despite the fact that Trump has been married 3 times, all of his children seem to be close. I mean, they all attended Tiffany's wedding. They seem to have positive relationships with each other and with, Melania, different step parents. The Biden family seems openly much more strained. And I don't think it's a good look that you left your wife for your brother's widow.
I could only say this.
Peter Henderson was the
If
alias.
only he left
Peter
her. He
Henderson.
actually just started cheating on her.
Wasn't it
Right.
Robert L. Peters?
I'll look for another
Was that
one.
one of them?
Right now I have the pseudonym Peter Henderson.
I've met Don Jr. a couple times. He's been on the show. We've talked to him on the show on the phone. We've had him here physically. I've met him at events. He just comes off like a regular guy.
Well, Don...
There's nothing like there is no. He comes off more like a regular guy than people who have like become successful and gotten famous that I know, or like he comes off like a regular guy more than some regular people actually know.
Yeah.
When you look at the Hunter Biden stuff, this is like lifestyles of the rich and the drug addicted.
The rich and the congressman, because
Yeah,
Joe is probably only at home 3 days a month. He's in Congress for 50 years or something.
So that
He
would've
spent
been my-
28
yeah.
days a month in Washington,
No,
That would've
D.C.
been
he
my
said
guess.
he was sorry. I was gonna say he was famous for saying, "No, I take the train home to Delaware every night," which means that's worse. If you were a congressman who does have access to your children regularly, and your children don't feel like you're getting the support that they end up in these complicated
totally.
emotional states.
And if he's coming back on the train, he's getting back at 9 p.m. at night.
True.
So
that would have been my guess. Like if there was something askew, if we don't have our finger to put on, oh, it's absolutely abuse or whatever. It probably just is an absolute father hunger, right? That they did not get the connection that they were made for from their dad because he was off.
I think
whatever. And it sounds like Trump, in some way, even though he had these marital breakdowns, he was able to, by all accounts, stay connected to his kids and meet that need for male love that his kids craved from him and that all kids crave from their dad.
I think when you look at the problems of Hunter Biden and you look at the stats on kids who grow up without dads, there's like a correlation there.
Oh,
So-
honey, we're going all the way on that tomorrow.
Yeah. So Culture War, Kate will be here for Culture War in the morning to talk family stuff more in depth. But I'm like drug abuse. This is like no strong father figure or abusive father who like an abusive father is also not a strong father figure, and it plays into it.
and seeing multiple siblings going through the drug abuse and the.
It's interesting, right? I mean, it's not.
I wouldn't call it a coincidence at
Yes.
face value. I mean, usually there's some thread to tug on.
Some need was not met. There was a need that was not met.
And
That's a
really,
bummer,
they
man.
lost their mom and their sister. Was that it?
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
wife and his daughter. Like that's freaking. That'll rip a family apart if you're not able to communicate about it.
He got sworn into Congress from the two boys' hospital room.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that his story, I think, caught the attention of the nation, and I think he did build a political career off that. But did he build it at the expense of his children's emotional
right.
well-being?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Did they lose their mom and their dad?
Oh
You know?
man, that's what happened to my parents. My mom's mother and father lost one of their kids. My mom's sister, when she was 10, got hit by a drunk driver and killed. And they just receded into alcoholism, the parents, and they were basically left to fend for themselves growing up. Their oldest sister kind of raised the kids. So that can absolutely happen. You lose one and
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.